On July 24th, the Oakland University administration proposed an 11% increase on student tuition due to lower funding from the state and an increased budget. The Board of Trustees makes a final decision on this matter, and after hearing from the administration and students, this is what they had to say.
There are no facts on that sheet of paper. There's nothing to say that if we raise 11%, we're going to retain anyone. It's the wrong time for us to be sitting here talking about a double-digit increase when the rest of the world, as we know it, is talking about giving back and cutting and cutting and cutting. You're reaching into their pockets of kids and children and adults whose parents are unemployed, who are not going to have medical insurance, who are not going to have medical care, and we're saying, give us some more money. I can't vote for that.
I think we need a substantial increase, but I am not in favor of the 11% increase. I think we have some items that we could work with and some goals that we'd like to attain that we could put off for a while. And while I would be more than willing to vote for what I believe to be a reasonable, maybe even substantial increase, I also have a problem with the 11% number.
We have choices as trustees in terms of whether or not we want to increase tuition at all or find other ways to run the university, whether it's by removing additional faculties or not doing repairs, not upgrading the necessary equipment that you need and you deserve as students when you come here. And if we believe that we can have quality education and we can improve the status of learning and academic achievement without paying for it, even in tough times, I think we're mistaken. I think we're kidding ourselves.
I would be very concerned that we would have to cut a number of programs that enhance and create the quality here at the university. So I hope that everyone compares apples to apples and understands that when another university may only be increasing its tuition by 5 or 6 or 7%, that really does compare to that 11% when you add in their fees.
I'm convinced that it's necessary in order to maintain the direction that this university is going in, to remain in that market in relationship to the other research institutions. And I think that is important, because when you get a degree from this university, you need to say my degree is as good as the degree from Michigan State or Michigan. And if we don't keep top-notch educators, they're going to go someplace else. And we're not going to maintain the quality of education that we do need and we do want. I'm afraid that a lesser increase now will create a greater increase later.
You know, I'm not opposed to talking about dropping the tuition somewhere below 11%. But what I want to hear is if you're going to drop that tuition down to whatever the number is, you pick it. I don't care. To me, there's, the difference between 9% and 11% is about $180, I think. So, we're going to get beat up as a board if you go 9 or 11. There's not going to be much difference. But I would have to hear from the university. I guess we'll have to do this at next week's board meeting. Now is, okay, you come in and said you need 11% to continue to do the things to strengthen our brand that moves us into the upper echelons of universities in the state. And don't kid yourself, we're not there right now. I sat across a few years ago. I sat over at a high level in Chrysler, and I hired people every day, and I would look at resumes that come across my desk. And I got to tell you, the brand of the university is the first thing I look at on a resume. If I see a graduate engineer from the University of Michigan, and I see a graduate engineer from Oakland, guess where my attention automatically goes to because of the distinction of the brand? It doesn't go to Oakland. So the competition in the game we're playing here, in order to grow this university and get it where we want to do, is to strengthen our brand as a university. A lot of the things that are being proposed in this budget are designed to do that. Now, if we choose to drop tuition down and not pay for those types of things, to get us into this level of where we are, that's fine. But what I would want to hear from the university is you cut these things, you better go back and redo your whole strategic plan. Because if you don't spend the bucks to improve your brand as a university, you're not going to get there, and the customer won't buy the entry-level product. If our objective in our strategic plan is provide the lowest cost education to a student at the highest product level you can do, that's fine. But let's don't kid ourselves that type of a brand development does not get you into that upper level. But I would just want to hear from the university if you're going to come back, and it's up to you. You want to walk back in next week and say, we dropped this to 7% or 8%. I want to see what you're giving up and what aren't you going to do.
The Board of Trustees moves the decision back until July 29th at 2 p.m.